And how hard is that moment where you reach the end of the draft, your name hasn't been called, you're hopeful that maybe the rookie draft is where it'll be? Like, for a kid that has set themselves for a big year, has an amazing year from a performance point of view, maybe put more eggs in that basket than schooling and so forth, and then go, oh shit, all that for that?
Yeah, and retrospectively, I can go back and think about the lessons I learned at that stage. But in the moment, you felt severely let down. And I, to be truthful, I wasn't expecting to be drafted on national draft. It was probably more the rookie draft that I had higher hopes for. It was actually my 18th birthday, so I went and got my license in the morning, and then thought,
It's a big day.
I'll be able to drive to training tomorrow. And it didn't happen, and it was a really hollow feeling, and I become really disillusioned with the whole process, because I felt like if you had written a book around how you should prepare and what you should do to get yourself an opportunity, and then to be let down by that.
When you say let down by the AFL clubs not selecting you, let down by the program that you were part of, or was it a combination of all of those things?
At the basis of it, it was yourself. You felt like you let yourself down. And that's purely because you've given the power to other people to determine your value.
Yep. And did you ask yourself questions like, did I really do enough? Or like, were those kind of questions, did you start to doubt yourself on the way that you'd prepared or performed that year?
Probably a little bit of distrust for the people who were guiding you.
Yeah.
And suggesting this is how you prepare and this is what you need to do, this is how you need to perform, and then not to any of that to come to fruition through being drafted. And as I said, I determined success by what other people thought of me.
Yeah.
And I said, this is not why I play football. This is not me. And that took some time. I was so caught up, and I'm sure there's many other kids out there. I was so caught up on what other people thought of me and the way they wanted me to play the game, and what did they need to see, and what is that mythical person who I don't even know who's watching this game is going to write about me.
Yep.
Am I getting enough touches? Am I kicking enough goals? Am I getting enough clearances? But I wasn't being a part of the team. And football's such it's a collective game and it's a collective approach. And why I started playing football was for my friends and my family and the fun and the joy and, kicking the dew off the ground at Auskick. And it didn't matter about what other people thought. I just loved the game. And without even realising that, over that 2-year span, I'd completely lost sight of that. So not being drafted was almost, and I think pain is always a reason for change.
Yep.
And that pain gave me a vehicle to say, hang on, this is not who I want to be, and this is not the way I want to show up. And I'm talking about this all in retrospect. In that period of time, I didn't even realise I was going through that.
Yeah.
So I trained at a few different clubs. Preston Bullants or Northern Bullants at the time was one. It was a place I went, watched play, and grew up. Effectively barracking for them. And Coburg, I spent a few sessions there, and Williamstown, and I was training for the sake of training. I probably had no purpose.
Yep.
And it was just because you don't get drafted, you go and play VFL.
Had you lost your love for the game at that stage?
Yeah, I had. Yep. I did, and I didn't realise that was happening until I started taking liberties with my training and calling in sick or not. A few reps, not doing a few reps, or missing a session here and there, and that wasn't me. That wasn't.
I did that most of my career.
It worked for you, though. But I knew that wasn't going to be a disservice to whatever club or myself, and I thought, if I continue to go this way, I'm never going to play football again. I'm going to play for a year, really dislike it, lose track of where my life's going, and never play footy again. So. Yeah. I made the decision that I wasn't going to play that year. I was going to have a year off. And at the time, I remember it really separated the people who cared about me, Kane Lambert, as the person, and then the ones who had a vested interest in Kane Lambert, the footballer.
Yeah.
And that separated those people. And fast track to when I retired, I for me, the whole period post that was about proving those people who cared about Kane Lambert, the person, right.
Yeah.
Not all those other ones that sat on the other side and proving them wrong.
I don't want to fast forward it to your retirement, but I think, for those that are listening in, like to go on YouTube and listen to your whole retirement speech I have no idea how many times it's been listened to, but it's a really beautiful way of teaching, whether you're an adult or a kid, the lessons in the way that you've held yourself. And I love that you just mentioned that. You said your purpose was to prove those that had been there for me right, rather than worry about all the doubters and proving them wrong.